Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be my third match in the Vega Battlegrounds Championships against Jwill. Originally, this was the match that I was most nervous for because it was the last one, and depending on what happened in prior rounds, this could have been the decider for me moving on. Luckily, at this point, we'd both moved on as it was, so there wasn't any need to worry. Regardless of what happened here, we'd both be in the step ladder, but this match determined the seeding. I'll leave a link to Jwill's channel in the description. He is a very good player, very good guy, definitely recommend checking him out. So, regarding picks here, what I wanted to do, as always, was try and pick counters to who he had and pick defenders that he didn't really have counters for. And in this first round especially, I feel like I did a pretty good job of that. So in this first round he places a Civil Warrior, which originally quite surprised me. I thought that he was using this as bait for my Hercules, but I knew that I had other options. I knew that I couldn't use long shot because nullifying immune. I wanted to save Kingpin for a later round. I placed Nick there to try and bait out his Penny, just because I didn't really want to fight her, and Penny's the only option he really had for Nick, and it worked. And then I end up using Guardian for the Civil Warrior. This is actually a rank 4 Civil Warrior as well, so props to him for going through with that rank up. That really surprised me when I saw it. And this fight was a bit of a pain. To start off with, it was not a problem at all, but the offensive ability accuracy reduction that Civil Warrior has when he does armor ups is really annoying. So the plan for me here was to build up to special 1 and then launch a special 2, and hopefully that finishes the fight. As you're going to see, that's not the case, and he gets stuck between, I think it was 5% and 1% for the longest time, and I think it wasted about 10 to 15 seconds. But this fight's definitely possible to be really quick. I got pretty poor RNG there as well, only 3 crits out of 7. And you can see here, he's got 14 armor ups, that's a lot of ability accuracy reduction, and because of that, that means that I'm just not landing any crits. I throw a special 1 there at 1% and he still doesn't die. It almost takes another full combo to get him down, but 51 seconds, that's still a relatively fast time, especially against a rank 4. But I knew that with Nick, regardless of who he used, I'd be able to stall him out longer. So I knew that even if I did mess up slightly, I could still get him on time. And this proves to be the case at the end of this one, because I end up winning this round. Yep, 85 seconds, yeah, there's no way that Guardian's going to last that long against anybody that doesn't really have a second life, or if I get really unlucky. So, while he was finishing off his fight, I was looking through both sides, seeing who I've got, seeing who he's got, and planning out what I want to do for this round. And overall, I came to this decision that Kingpin was going to be the one that would cause the most problems for him on defense, because his best counter is probably Nimrod, because Nimrod's the only one that doesn't rely on debuffs for his damage. I know Magneto doesn't, but against Kingpin it'll be really difficult to play around, and it probably wouldn't have that much of a payoff. And one that's kind of surprised me, he placed Mephisto. I'm not sure if he actually selected that or not, because it got to the end of the timer, but I like using Scorpion for this matchup. A lot of people would think that this would be like a good stall, which for the most part, yeah, but a lot of people don't know with Scorpion that if they have max limber, you can just do medium and build up those debuffs much faster, and then you'll also get bigger sting bursts. do, say, medium light melee, they'd have less debuffs but also the same amount of power. And as you can see here, like we're about 20 seconds in, he's already at 50%. So I really like Scorpion for matchups like this. Here I didn't even bother doing the heavy charge. I just thought, let's get him down as quick as possible. 6 debuffs, that's going to take a good, like, roughly 15% off. There, that kind of surprised me. I thought originally that was a bug, but I went back and read Scorpion's abilities. Whenever he evades with Scorpion Sense, he actually activates his Sting Burst, which is very, very helpful in scenarios like that, because, as you saw, there were 2 separate Sting Bursts that happened, and that basically finished him off. And it's not often that without a champ like Human Torch or Red Hulk, that you can see Mephisto down in 37 seconds with 98% health. Scorpion's just a different animal. But as you can see, he's still in the fight, and there's absolutely no way that he comes out of this with a higher score, purely due to time, even if he finishes with 100%. I've got this first match 2-0, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so second matchup here. I didn't talk about bans before. What I usually like to do with bans is start off looking at champs that I really don't like to fight. So if I see a Domino that's either rank 4 or high sig, I'm going to instantly ban her. Not because she's difficult, but because she's unreliable or she's unpredictable. And I don't like that in fighting. I like the fight to be in my control. Against Domino, that's not possible. Everybody else that he had, I felt like I had a good amount of counters for, which is why I didn't end up banning anybody else as a defender. Now, after that, I usually look for attackers that they are good with. I know that Jwill loves his Shang-Chi, which is why I banned him, and I know that he's capable of doing some stuff against champs that I think are annoying to fight, and he'll breeze through it with ease with Shang-Chi. And then the last one, I went with Torch because I really hate it when the opponent gets Torch and I don't. It just feels like my draft becomes like roughly half as useful, just because Torch counters so much, even if it's deemed as a bad matchup, when I feel like I've got a good one. So I'd just rather not deal with it. So here I throw Mephisto because I'm thinking, okay, he's going to throw out a defender that I'm probably not going to have a really good counter for. In the past against Mephisto with Red Hulk, I usually tend to get about 60-second fights, if not longer. But the past times I've had pretty poor RNG. So you'll see at the end of this, he plays this pretty much perfectly and destroys me in this one, or in this fight in particular. Now for this matchup, I didn't feel like I had a better option for Toad than Stark Spidey, but this is where doing these fights, doing Battlegrounds, really helps my knowledge, because I didn't know that Toad has an increased chance to place poisons on you if you crit him. I thought it was just a flat chance like it was with regular Abomination. So when I see there that I get 5 poisons in the first 10 hits, I'm there thinking, what is going on? This is the worst RNG I've ever had. Like, I didn't play this fight bad in the slightest, but I lost a lot of health just purely based on the poison damage alone. And this made me go back and read Toad's abilities. And yeah, now I know not to do this again in the future. So we finish up this fight nice and clean, and you can see, as I was talking about before, he absolutely demolished that fight, so fair play to him. He did a really good job there. Now, at this point I was thinking, yeah, I've definitely been been beat here on the draft, because he has probably more counters to my champs than I have to his. This one kind of surprised me. He placed Omega Sentinel here, which I can see is fair enough. He would have thought, okay, he might try and use Archangel, or even Mole Man, potentially, and they're not great. I placed Killmonger here just because I thought that would cause him the most problems out of anybody else, and here I end up using Scorpion. Now, I've never done this matchup before, but this fight taught me that this is a really good matchup, especially for different metas, because I feel like Omega Sentinel is probably one of the strongest defenders in this meta, specifically. Now, we get into the fight here, and to start off with, I thought that there were connection issues. I thought I was seeing a bit of lag, and here I take a combo to the face, and I'm thinking, okay, this is all over. He's definitely got this round. Unless he gets really poor energy, I feel like he'll definitely beat whatever I get here. Not knowing that I could definitely score like a good time with this. I thought that this would be at least like 70 seconds, give or take. But that getting hit at the start, that took 50% of my health. The Mega Sentinel just hits so hard. But if you can play around her armor ups, then she's not that difficult of a defender, and I feel like I know how to do that comfortably now. And here, just throw a special 2, straight off, don't even bother heavy charging, just finish her off. And that was 47 seconds. If I'd have finished with 100% health, like I should have, I would have scored roughly 54,000. Which is a very, very good score, regardless of who you use, especially against Omega Sentinel. I think only Gallon and Hercules can really put up times that quick, and luckily, there, we got lucky. He got really unlucky with RNG, or just messed up a few times, and that saved me in this round. So I'm thinking, okay, I think now I could potentially win this, because he has Nick Fury, Hulkling, and Black Cat. So I placed Mole Man. Now, I think here, the only champ he can really use to get this fight down is Hulkling, and that stops him from placing him. I thought he was going to place Nick Fury, which is why I saved my Archangel. I just need to get good RNG here, and then hopefully I should win that. What really did surprise me as well is that he ended up using Black Cat for that. I think he tried to use the sabotage and the ability accuracy reduction to his advantage and do a lot of sabotage damage, which is smart in hindsight, but I wouldn't have expected that at all. I thought he was definitely going to go for Hulking. Here you can see I get 5 bleeds off the start. That's pretty much perfect. Start off with 4 Neuros. That's pretty much exactly what I needed. 6 Neuros, and he's just melting. This is only a rank 3 Nick as well. So in the first 25 seconds, he's already in the second life. I'm feeling confident. I just need to play it dead safe. Make sure I don't mess up in this last 20 seconds. Make sure I get the fight down clean. And I should have this match as well. And we finish off this fight pretty clean. 52,000 points with 93% health. If he doesn't finish in the next 5 seconds, then I've won this round as well. And you can see here, it's going in my favour pretty well. So at this point, I'm 2-0 up, and I'm feeling really confident going into the third round. I'm thinking, okay, he's probably worrying because I am 2 points ahead. He needs to win these last 3 matches to go or to beat me in this. And if I win this next one, I go 9-0 undefeated in the qualifying round, which is something that I wanted to do pretty much all week. So going into the third round here, I stick with the same bans because it's been working well for me. I don't feel like I need to ban anybody else. I think he bans different champs to what he did last time. I think he bans my Scorpion after what he saw against Mephisto and Omega Sentinel, which is understandable, but it was really confusing to see that he banned my Scorpion, but he also has a rank 4 Scorpion. So that kind of surprised me, but I can understand why as well, because I know that he doesn't play Scorpion the same way that I do. So going through here, looking at who I get off the start, I'm feeling confident because Kingpin and Mojo was mainly for if he drafts Hulkling, which again he did here. I was so happy that I managed to pull that, just because Mojo is probably one of my favourite counters for Hulkling. It's just a fun fight overall, and that also forces his picks because he needs a counter for Kingpin, and if he wants to place say I-Bomb on defense, he needs another Mystic counter. So here I picked Nick Fury and Void. I picked Void just in case he got his Mephisto, and what do you know, next round he instantly got it. So I was really happy with that pick at this point. And I think he picks Killmonger here as well. He's taking his time with the picks just because he knows he needs to win this. He needs to make the best decisions possible. And here he got more. I don't have a counter for him right now. Best one's probably Kingpin, but I was going to save him for I-Bomb. So I'll pick Archangel. Then I'm looking at who he has, and his only poison immune, aside from Red Hulk, is Toad. And he needs Toad for other fights. Red Hulk is really slow against I-Bomb because he has a lot of physical resistance, so I thought I might as well pick that. Just kind of force some other picks into his hands. And he drafts Hyperion, smart. That would be his best I-Bomb counter probably. And then I can't remember who else he drafts. Civil Warrior. Again, I was really confused by that as well. Here I really wanted to pick Rintra because I knew he didn't have a good counter, but looking at who else he had, I didn't want to make the same mistake against Toad again in case he placed him, so I picked up Guardian because I know Guardian counters Toad really well. So here, in the first match, he places Mephisto, probably just to try and stall, in case, because he thinks whoever I place he could probably beat quicker. So I placed Nick, he uses Toad, which is smart. Toad's really fast, Nick, and I use Void here, because he's probably the best option I have. This fight surprised me a bit, because I had both really good and really bad RNG. I start off with a Petrify, but as you'll see, that doesn't last very long. I end up getting it as my 6th debuff as well, which is really unfortunate because that would have sped the fight up a lot. As you can see here, Void, he's not weak. He doesn't hit like a noodle like everyone says he does. It's just if I'd have got another Petrify here, heal reversal would have been what would have made this fight much quicker overall. So here we are, just playing it safe, make sure you're baiting specials, make sure everything's safe, everything's shut down. My goal here is to finish with as high health as possible. Against Mephisto, I know that I can finish above 95% with Void. So here you see he's being a bit passive. I'm here thinking, come on, throw it, please. Thank you. And then as you can see now, I've got one Petrify and the other 4 debuffs through, which is typical. So I save my special attack here, just so that I can get a debuff up straight away when he gets interfering with Void. And that's what I end up doing, pushing over the mark 30%, set the regen off. And here, I was very lucky there that crit didn't trigger Bulwark, because it did 7%, but if that had triggered the Indestructible, I would have lost that on time. I got really lucky here to say that he finished with 1,000 points less than me. And that means that this next fight if he doesn't win this and the next fight, then I move on. So I'm looking, thinking, okay, I'm probably going to throw here just to be safe for round 3, and I place Ibon, thinking, okay, Hyperion will be able to deal with that just fine. And I know here that I have counters to everybody else that he has. For if he places Hyperion, then I'll use Mojo. If he places Sivori, I'll use Guardian. Ebony Maw, I'll probably use Guardian as well. But he places Ibon as well. Probably thinking that I'm going to go for Archangel, but I went for Kingpin because I knew that that was a safer matchup, and it's also possible to do this in about 30 to 40 seconds. As you'll see here, with the Shrugging RNG, I got really unlucky actually. I think from his point of view, when he was streaming this, it looked like I had really good RNG, but I ended up shrugging off 1 out of 3 debuffs so far. And I think when it gets later in the fight, after I push him to a special 2, the poison just keeps sticking. But to say I got an overpower in the first 30 seconds, that's pretty good. I'm getting a lot of damage off. We're about 30 seconds in now, and he's at 40%. I get tagged there, which it really surprised me, but he had the weakness on him, so it didn't do anything. And here you'll just see the poisons just do not get shrugged off. I've got 4 poisons on me at the moment, and I ended with 4 on me. Luckily, because I had the degen and the weakness on, it didn't do a lot of damage, and 47 seconds, that's pretty fast. He needed to finish that. If he was to finish with 100% health, he needed to finish that about 55 seconds, I would have thought. But looking at this now, looking at how long he's taking, I know that I've won this match. There we go. That's a 3-0 win. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. I really hope you did enjoy. If you got any suggestions, please leave it in the comments, and I'll see you later.